I hear from a lot of new web developers that they don't quite understand how APIs work. And I thought it might be cool if I did an episode where I show you how to start with a raw data set you can find on the web and build an app from the ground up just using that data. I'm here on data.gov. They have a lot of cool data sets for all sorts of different things that you can explore. I'd say it's a pretty site on the front. On the back end, when you're actually trying to find the data, sometimes it can be kind of tricky. So you might have to do quite a bit of exploring to find what you want. After quite a bit of clicking, I came across this page, which is a data set for farmers markets that you can look up based on a zip code. They have basic instructions here on what to do in different languages. I'm looking in the JavaScript part. We won't use JavaScript for this, we're going to use Ruby, but there's two important links that you can see. The first one is this URL, zip search, zip at the end. The second one is down further where we can see this URL for market detail with an ID. I'm going to copy this first link, URL rather, just up to the zip equals. I'm going to open a new tab, paste it in, and I'm going to type in my zip code. Now, I have a Google Chrome extension that makes the JSON look nicer, which you can do as well. Otherwise, you're going to just have a raw JSON text file. But basically, this page just shows you the JSON. Okay, next, let's go back and let's get that other link that I pointed out, this market detail one. Now, you can see here that it's looking for an ID. And I'm going to make an educated guess and say that it is that ID from the results we pulled back from the zip code. So the idea is you can get a set of results back from the zip code, and then you'll be able to look at more details about specific ones. And that's right. So right here we're seeing market details, where the farmer's market is, a Google Maps address, some more descriptions about the products they sell, and the schedule for when that farmer's market happens. I open these up in the browser like this to hopefully demonstrate to you that these are just web pages like any other web page that you visit. They're publicly available and it's just data on the web. There's nothing magical that we're going to do to get this data. It's just data. If you can find it like this, presumably you can use it. The next thing we're going to do is open up a command line application. I'm on Mac, and for me that is Terminal. Mine is probably a different color than yours, but that's fine. If you don't have Ruby installed at this point, you'll need to install it. Otherwise, type in IRB, and you can type in simple prompt as a flag if you'd like, and that will just keep the text on the line shorter. First thing that we need to do is require OpenURI, which will allow us to interact with the web. Next, let's go back to our browser and get that URL. Okay, so I copied the URL, and now I'm going to say page equals open, and then quote, paste the URL we were looking at, end quote, and then close the parentheses, and we should get back this thing. Now, what we can do with this is say raw equals page.read, and it doesn't matter what variable you name it, that's just what I called it. And you'll see what we get back is a string, which means this data type, which is in quotes here, with all the JSON information that we were looking at. And all these backslashes are just escaping these quotes because you have quotes inside of quotes. The next thing we want to do is convert this to actual JSON. To do that, the first thing we need to do is require the JSON library. Once we have that, we can say JSON equals JSON in all caps dot parse, and then we're going to pass in raw. And this will give us back actual JSON that we can work with as a hash. So the first thing to notice is that all of the data that we care about is within this results key. So what we can say is JSON results, and it will give us back the actual data in an array. So I'm going to say results equals underscore, which underscore will in IRB set whatever you're setting it to equal to the last return value. So results for us is the array of information. So now what we can do is say results and call array methods on this. So I could say results.first, and it's going to give me back that farmer's market that we originally looked at in the browser. The next thing that we need to do then is to get the other link that we were looking at and use this ID here to pull back the detailed information about this farmer's market. So ignore the last couple lines, I kind of screwed that up. I went and copied the line and the URL for that we were using before. I'm going to save that as detail URL equals, and then paste in the line that we need without the ID, and I need to add a quote at the beginning. The next thing I'm going to do is open this page the way that we did before. So I'm going to say detail page equals open, and I can just say detail URL plus, and then results dot first, and then we need to get the ID from that first result. And that should work. Yes. So now what we can do is say raw detail equals detail page dot read, and that gives us back the string that we saw before, or a string like we saw before of the detail information for this JSON. Then we can do JSON.parse raw detail, and the same thing we did before. Let's take a look back at our results again. So we still have our original set of results with all the farmers markets. So I can go back up, and instead of doing first, I could do, let's just pass in 3, which gets us the 4th item back from the array. And it gives us a different one, and I can read that one. I can just up until I see that raw detail is detail page.read, and this gives me a different farmer's market. That's pretty much it for this episode. I have 2 takeaways that I hope you get from this, and the first one is that interacting with JSON data via the web, via an API, is really not that difficult. And the second thing is I'm hoping that you see how this is all just plain Ruby that we're doing, and it would be pretty trivial to put this into a Rails app and make a pretty cool interface. So that's what we're going to do in the next episode, part 2 of this. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.